Right now, we'd like to bring on a young man who believes in doing things his own way. And based on the way he kind of get next to all of the folks who've seen him work, his way has got to be pretty hip. So let's lay some noise.
Listen on me, boy.
2000 and beyond.
This so-called democracy.
Welcome back, fellow BUCS fans. It is I, Robert Green. It's been a wild month or so for us fellow BUCS fans, yo. Just a few weeks ago, 2 weeks to the day, actually 2 weeks ago at this point, Tampa Bay Buccaneers pulled off what was considered an upset for some reason. Our Tampa Bay Buccaneers finally made it back to the Super Bowl. 18 years since the Bucs made the Super Bowl. 13 years since the Bucs were at the playoffs. And joining me tonight, man, I got two fellow Bucs fans, and one actually made his way to the Super Bowl itself. He actually got to see it live and direct. I got Mr. Juan Perez of One Cheese Kicks out of Dallas, Texas, fellow Bucs fan. Also got Bigg Slim, that dude, back in it one more time.
Yep.
Back in it one more time, man. Whew, man, still can't get. I'm not ready to move on. I can't get over it. So excited, still. Tampa Bay Super Bowl champions, 2020. Man, Bigg Slim, tell me something good, man. All the talks we had going through the season, going into the playoffs, man. It's been a long run.
Yeah, it definitely have, man. And this person don't even deserve to be in the conversation right now. But even since back the stressful Jameis days, and why he should be here, and all those talks, and it's like, man, it's definitely one of those experiences that, I say for me and you, we definitely been trying to advocate and push for it, and, change needed to be made and things like that. But, was also saying that it was something that we always had, and that was the defense, So it's definitely one of those things to finally see everything kind of just come to fruition, man. It definitely, become something that we all knew could happen. And Super Bowl champs, that's what it was.
Indeed. And for the first time joining us, man, again, I want to thank him still. Met this cat, I think it was 2018 season when we were going through those dreadful years. Dreadful years at Raymond James Stadium. Mr. Juan Perez out of Dallas, Texas, owner of One Cheese Kicks. Juan, you and I, we're going to talk about your experience because you were actually fortunate enough to make it to the Super Bowl and actually watch this, what might be a once-in-a-lifetime event for any fan to watch their Super Bowl, to watch their team actually play in the Super Bowl. You actually got to see that in person. Can you just encapsulate what you saw, like the playoff, the whole playoff run, and just going into the playoffs? Like, how did you feel going into the playoffs and how it played out?
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for having me on here, Robert. It's an honor, a privilege. Thank you so much for that. And Bigg Slim, what's up, Bigg Slim? Nice to meet you, man.
Yo.
Yeah, so with the playoffs, well, actually, before I go into the playoffs, I kind of want to add to what Bigg Slim was just talking about in regards to Winston, kind of talking about, we got to let that ship sail and bring in someone else to, lead the ship. And you know what? I was rooting for him when he was our quarterback, but it got to a point where I was just like, man, he's just not doing it. He's just not cutting. He's making the same mistakes over and over again. Last year we were 7-9, right?
Yeah.
And then we're at 7-9. So there's 3 games that I still remember that I'm like, if we would have won those games because James didn't turn the ball over, we could have won because we lost by like one score game. So one of them was against the Panthers where we had 4 interceptions. I think they lost by 11 that game. 4 interceptions. And to lose by 11, usually teams get blown out. So if Winston at least threw 1 interception, even 2, they might have kept it close. They might have even won that game. So that would have changed it to 8-8. Another game was against the Texans. They lost by 4. Winston threw 2 interceptions. Then if they would have won that game with no interceptions, they would have been what? My math is off. 9-7. So after that, against the Texans, they lost by 6 points, 4 interceptions that game. Mm-hmm. If he only threw like 1 interception, they probably would have won that game because it was a 1-score game. So they would have been a 10-win team. So the crazy thing is, I know there's some people that are saying like, no, Winston would have been good if he was still on the team because he balled out last year, 30 touchdowns, like 5,000 passing, but 30 interceptions. That was the thing, the turnovers. And if you look back at the team last year, it's basically the same team. People are saying, you have Antonio Brown now. You have Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette. Yeah, true. But the defense was the same as last year.
Right.
But the only thing is that with so many interceptions, the defense barely gets off the field. And all of a sudden, like, they turn around, like, Winston threw another pick. Oh, God, all right, let's get back on there. And that's deflating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, we're going to take a break. I was like, we got to go back out there again. Are you kidding me? Where we at? On our own 30? Like, you got to be kidding me, man. Come on, guys. So yes, I could see, seeing all those interceptions, like, if he would have cut down the interceptions, they would have been a better team, but he just kept making the same mistakes year after year after year. It's time to a point like, he's not going to learn from these mistakes. We got to move on. And nothing against Jameis or anything like that, just too many mistakes.
Yeah, and Bigg Slim and I, we kind of talked about, we've been bringing this up for a while. I know I've written about it several times about that whole deal, man, and how the team was basically poised to be a playoff team if the team just stopped giving away so many games and so forth. To your point, last year we lost 6 games by single score losses, and three of those games had more than 2 turnovers or 2 or more turnovers of single score losses. Mm-hmm. The year before that, 2018, 7 single score losses, 5 of them had multiple turnovers. The season before that, 5 and 11. 5 and 11 the season before that. 4 of those losses, 2 or more turnovers.
And it's crazy because now is what me and Robert been saying this whole time about the turnovers. And granted, Tom Brady is who he is, but Tom Brady just basically came in and did what he needed to do. It wasn't like a situation where Tom Brady was just MVP caliber, like he just, threw for this astronomical number of yards and 50 touchdowns. Like, he came in and was the quarterback we needed for this team. He played within the team. He didn't hurt us, and some, given the growing pains, but he didn't hurt us. But in the times when we need him, he pulled us over the hump. But to Robert's credit, when you think about the games we lost last season and the season before that, and you think about one-score losses and games we had multiple turnovers, and you think about this season where we're 11-5, could have been maybe 11-3 if you give one of the losses to the Saints. We win that game against the Bears. That's 11-3. That's like what, 13-3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We get
11-5. Like you say, 11-5. It kind of portrays what type of team we are. Even with when we had Jameis, if he cut back on maybe 1 or 2 of those turnovers, those one-score games could have been a game in our favor, maybe a field goal or somewhere, given the kickers we had. But to what me and Robert always said, we always kind of been this team at the core. We just needed to change the leadership, get a quarterback that not necessarily won't throw for 50 touchdowns, but definitely won't throw for 30 interceptions. Like they say, if you cut it in half, look what we can be. Tom Brady ended the season with like 12, 13 interceptions.
Yeah, 12 interceptions.
Yeah.
And that was on a bad season. This is a bad season for him. For his standards, like, he threw for a lot of interceptions. So, and look what happened. So we could have been doing this last season.
And then the 3 seasons prior.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, you're definitely right. Yeah, and like bringing Brady in. So I'm a Brady fan. Like not like just recently, even when he barely won his first Super Bowl, because I loved his story about how much of an underdog he was. He got picked like at the very, very end, and I like those kinds of stories. So when I heard about that, like around like 2003, 2004, when I started reading more about it, I was like, man, I like this dude. I want to root for this cat more. But what do you call it? So he's my second favorite quarterback. My first is Steve Young. Pop quiz. What team did he play for his rookie year?
BUCS.
Steve Young.
It's a buck.
That's right.
Come on now.
So that was my first. That's my first favorite quarterback. My second favorite quarterback is Tom Brady. But when they brought him in, I was happy, but at the same time, I was kind of concerned because, they gave up. How many sacks did they give up? They gave up a lot of sacks last year, like 40-something sacks, 47 sacks. I think they gave up 47 sacks last year, and that was with the
42?
mobile quarterback in 40, somewhere in the 40s. Let me just say 40. So that was with the mobile quarterback. So I was kind of concerned when Brady came because he's not mobile. We still had the same lineman except for DeMar Dotson. He got replaced by the rookie Tristan.
You're right.
Through the draft. And I was kind of like, man, like, can Brady, would he be able to hold up with this offensive line? But this year, there was only 22 sacks that were allowed this year with Brady behind.
And several of those were his fault. I know that's blasphemy for some folks to hear, but yeah, they were his fault looking down the field for as long as he was for a few of those.
And that's the irony, and that's really the irony with the whole Jameis Winston situation, not to just keep going on with it, because it's definitely something we definitely see the difference in. But when you got Jameis Winston taking 40-some sacks, you know, it's hard to attribute how many sacks his fault, how many sacks against the O-line. But you bring in a new quarterback, less mobile, same O-line, and not only the same O-line, you replace the veteran with a rookie. And you have a 180 difference almost, and granted, Tristan Wirfs was obviously the best O-line in the draft, and I think this guy is going to be an All-Pro for years on years on years. I think he's going to be a staple. I don't see him going anywhere. He's a guy that I think we definitely should anchor around the O-line around. But granted, you get a guy that's not as mobile, not as probably as sturdy as Jameis. Statue type of quarterback, and he takes, over less than half the sacks. And even though some of the sacks was his fault, but I think that's a tribute that kind of really lets you know how undervalued the O-line was, or how hard it was to really appreciate the O-line because of the decision making Jameis had. So that's one of the situations where you say you can have a quarterback that makes everyone around him better, or you can have a quarterback like Jameis that kind of makes everyone around him play a little harder, a little badder, a little worse, because of his inability to make the right decisions with the ball. So in a sense, Jameis really made the O-line look worse than what it was, because it's so stressful to block for a guy that hold on to the ball as long. So
that was that was it. I mean, that was kind of the deal. Like you and I said, Bigg Slim, we were talking about how the team was in place. Like, we could win with all these players, all these guys we had with all their faults, the Donovan Smiths, the Ronald Joneses and so forth. They just end up having to play and had to play a whole lot harder because of their situation at quarterback, as well as some other issues. We don't want to keep compounding everything. Defense as well, right? Defense defense was made to look terrible because they got put in so many bad situations. And we argued here that the Bucs were still doing the same thing with the offense this year. How they just, all the on and off, how they couldn't turn it on when they thought they could turn it on, and the slow starts that, it was specifically the offense, but when they started talking about they being the national media and then would trickle on to fellow Bucs fans, they kept saying, well, the team starts slow. I'm like, no, the defense was, they started the game with getting a 3 and out, getting a turnover. They obviously didn't start slow. It's the offense. The offense started slow. But I want to transition into, we went through the 16 games, the slow starts, the up and down, only 5 losses. But we still felt, most of us who had high expectations, where we felt it was Super Bowl or bust. That was definitely me. We got the 5 losses and we kept going. Going into the playoffs, I didn't know what to expect myself. There were teams. I still felt like there was no team that was on the schedule that the Bucs couldn't beat. There was no team on the schedule that they could possibly see in the playoffs, including the Chiefs, that the Bucs can handle on the strength of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Going into the Washington game, how did you feel overall about the Bucs, offensively, defensively? How did you see? I mean, obviously, a lot of people, just assumed it was going to be a wash playing Washington with their quarterback being out. A no-name quarterback for people who weren't paying attention to who he was prior. How did you go into that one playoff game thinking, for the whole look of for the Bucs' whole outcome? Well, how did you go into it with the first Washington game?
Honestly, I was still concerned because, one, they have a young, fast defensive line. And I'm a firm believer in the battle is won in the trenches. So if that defensive line can get to Tom Brady, they would definitely cause some problems. So I was really concerned about the defensive line for the Washington football team getting to Tom Brady before he could even throw the ball out. So that was my main concern of that game. The weapons, I felt like, of course, the Bucs have a lot of weapons. So if Brady was able to get the ball back out, it'd be okay. But I was not expecting the Washington football team to put up numbers on the offensive side. I thought the defense was going to step up and, get some picks here and there and, just stop them and shut them down. I was wrong. I was wrong. What's that quarterback's name? Heineke? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Heineke. Man, that guy was balling.
He was.
He was balling.
He made me he made me a little bit nervous. Again, that's the element of surprise when you can't really prep for a quarterback. You don't have a whole lot of film on him. You don't know what the offense is going to be, how they were going to surround him, how they were going to attack him. Trying to attack the offense. The first thought that a lot of fans, myself included, were thinking, okay, here comes the pressure. It's going to happen. Like, we don't know if this guy can move or not or what have you. Here comes Todd Bowles and, some blitzes and so forth.
Yeah.
But then again, I also thought, I watched enough Todd Bowles to understand, like, the first half, actually not the first half of the game, but what Todd Bowles had typically been doing when it came to certain style of quarterbacks, specifically the younger quarterbacks. What he would do is drop back, and he would have his guys drop back in zone all the way till they got to midfield. All the way till they got up to midfield, and then here comes the tight coverage, and then you got a lot of pressure coming in, and it slowed them down or stopped them completely. That was a trend that a lot of people didn't talk about. I brought it up several times here when people were complaining about playing zone and so forth. It was a big deal with Todd Bowles playing soft coverage and so forth. He literally did it all the way to the time they got up to the 50-yard line. And then as soon as that happened, pressure. You saw tight coverage and you saw the attacks on the quarterback. But against Heineke, it was like, holy crap, this cat can move. Not only can he move, he can throw. Like, damn, like he's not getting rattled. He's been around for a while. He's been in before. Bigg Slim, how did you see that game, man? Do you remember watching that game and having any words there that you didn't have prior?
Man, I think with that game, when we went into the game, it's kind of like what Coach B.A. was saying. I was more, worried about, kind of like the defense. But then again, it's like what B.A. said. He said, hey, even though, granted, their record was 7-9, they was really had a winning record with Alex Smith. And, regardless of what people say about Alex Smith, I always been kind of an Alex Smith, I won't say necessarily a fan, but I respect his game. Because he's a good player. He just kind of bounced around, giving, because, he's not a big risk quarterback. Some teams want quarterbacks to take more risks. That was his flaw. He very careful, maybe too careful at times, like another Derek Carr or something. But he's always been a smart player. And, when he did come back, there was winning games. And he's a cerebral quarterback. So, just going into that game, I knew it was a lot on that lines, wild card game. And I'm like, well, you give Alex Smith a chance to play, it's 50-50. Anybody can lose that game. And I was just like, I was more worried about him just being able to come in and we can't get to him. He having a little bit too much time to kind of carve us up. You still wasn't unsure of the defensive plan. With how we was going to approach Washington, I assumed that Todd Bowles was like, okay, Alex Smith back there, obviously, he has that ailment with his leg, bring the pressure, shake him up. But, with that game, I was really kind of more worried about Alex Smith. And then when I found out Alex Smith wasn't playing, I was kind of relieved. But then, I kind of was taken back because I'm like, well, kind of when teams play back with quarterbacks, it kind of throw a wrench into the whole game plan because you really can't prepare for them.
Right.
And I think Heineke proved that because he did a lot better than anybody gave him credit for. The guy threw for over 300 yards, and he was their leading rusher as well. And they have a good running back in Gibson. Yeah. So, give the guy his credit. He played his ass off. He played his heart out. Like, he had me worried, like, in the third quarter. It was like, 18-16 in the third quarter at the end of the third. So, they were playing. Like, he played, and, obviously he earned a extension with them. But with that game, I wasn't too much worried about the defense. On their part, the defensive line, I'm like, well, they got good defensive line. But I'm like, well, our offensive line really playing well, kind of, away from Donovan Smith, everyone else is playing kind of solid. So I was like, well, I'm okay with the defensive line. I don't think they'll bring that much pressure. Tom Brady's a smart quarterback. He'll get rid of it pretty quick. We have a lot of weapons. I think, just on their back end, the Redskins back end, I don't think they have the secondary to cover our guys, not even the linebacker core to cover our guys. So I kind of felt like we'll win that game. I just think Heineke gave us, more trouble than we thought he could, and he made the game really closer than we thought he could. But Like I say, I mean, the Redskins, I didn't think we'll lose that game. I think out of everybody between Washington, the Saints, Green Bay, and even the Chiefs, I think the Redskins gave me more of the worry because it was kind of like you didn't know what to expect, as a versus everyone else. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, the Bucs came out of that one 31-23. Again, you pointed it out. Heineke got an extension. After that game, as soon as that game was over with, I said that dude was going to get like $17 million for the next year because he was on the big stage. I'm like, on the big stage, he didn't just play solid. He didn't crack. He didn't seem like he hadn't been there before. He looked and played like a veteran, like a good veteran, not a guy who just been there. He didn't play like he, just a guy who had been around the league. He played like he had been playing. Yeah. And that was better than anybody, or scarier than most people would have expected. Again, like Juan was saying, I think a lot of our fellow Bucs fans, the concern was the defensive line, that young, hungry defensive line with that dude Chase Young, who was, just a monster of a talent and all his potential. But he had a terrible game. Terrible game. I think if you saw a lot of the recaps of the games, especially from Bucs fans and so forth, you saw and heard the talk about Donovan Smith or what's my guy, Gronkowski blocking so well on him. This is how I know. This is how I know he had a terrible game. And no disrespect to this player I'm about to mention, but damn it, if I didn't see Cameron Brate put that man on his ass and reroute that man about 4 times, that's when I know. That's when I knew Chase Young was having a terrible day on that Sunday, man. I'm sorry, that Saturday. It was terrible. And that dude has a whole lot of potential and a whole lot of talent. So does that entire team. Again, that was one. That was one down, 31-23. Scary when you think about it. Like, holy crap, we only by 8. That's it. Yeah, that was it. Right. That was Washington. And then obviously after that, man, the one I was waiting for. I was waiting for it, but at the same time, I was really laughing and joking. I was like, yo, I hope Drew Brees' career ends on Nickelodeon. I hope he don't make it to his next game. I hope his season ends covered in green slime on Nickelodeon. I wanted to see him, but I didn't want to see him. We had New Orleans up next in New Orleans. For the record, I knew this. Todd Bowles don't really mess up twice on the same team. Mm-hmm. He comes with something different. I remember the first game, Carlton Davis, his first game in NFC South when they had Carlton Davis and on the field. Carlton Davis got an education going up against Drew Brees. Carlton Davis was getting whooped. He had some bad moments, and we had a damn good game that game too. That was a game that we went in and Fitzpatrick, week 1, killing. He went in there and he did his thing. That was, but that my boy Carlton Davis had a terrible game there, and I saw Todd Bowles had to readjust how he was attacking that man and how he covered him. He had Carlton Davis and those guys in soft coverage for a lot of that, and that man got a whole bunch of yards. Come the next time Carlton Davis got to play him, shut him down. That was the next season, the following season, shut him down, killed him. He had Carlton Davis, tracked that man, shadowed that man the entire game, killed him. So going into this wild card game, but going into this game, I knew the defense, again, like most of the season, they were going to be on point. And Todd Bowles came in there and he killed it once again. Bigg Slim, I'll start with you. What was the most memorable thing that you remember from watching this game and that experience in that one?
The most memorable part of that game was Devin White catching that pick, man, at the end of the game to seal it. That was it. When he picked out Breeze, when he was trying to go to Kamara at the end of the game, man, he picked him off. Like, I just remember just like falling off the couch and just like, yeah. Because it was like personal at that point, man. Yeah. Like how between us and the Saints, man, how they did us, and you got Cameron Jordan talking this little side stuff. It's like between the Bucs and the Saints, I would just say for this season, definitely last season as well, just going on into the rivalry. This game was personal, man. Like, it was a lot on this game, man. Like, and I always told myself, man, if we get past this game, everything else should be downhill. Like, we had to beat the Saints, man. Like, But that was my most memorable point, man. When the game kind of went back and forth. They got the early lead. It was 6-0 at the end of the first. And then we kind of caught our stride through the second and going into the rest of the game. But they kicked the 2 field goals in the first. But man, it's when just knowing like it was over. Like when Devin White caught that interception, man, and just knowing like, okay, it's 0 chance. It's it. That's it. We beat them. That was it. And, this having, just that, third time a charm, we got the last laugh type of feeling. Like, hell yeah.
It's almost poetic. Felt like poetic justice to have to fight, to go through those cats after taking that ass whooping we took.
Man, right. That was my most memorable point, man. The game, it was a good game. Went back and forth. You got a lot of stuff, but that was my point.
Yeah. Juan, what were your feelings watching that game, man? What stood out to you? What were your emotions? Did you go into that one feeling a little bit iffy, a little bit nervous based on the previous, basically curb stomping that occurred the last time?
Man, I guess you could say I'm always going nervous for a Bucs game because I feel like my heart's going to get ripped out, like it's going to get disappointed, especially in the playoffs. And I think that was one of the games where, all right, so they had Kamara, they had Breeze together, and then they had, oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. The wide receiver for the Saints.
Thomas?
Yes, they all had them all together because they weren't playing all together the past 2 games, right, in the regular season?
Thomas, he missed most of the season too. I don't think he played in the second matchup.
Yeah, so like those three, their big 3 didn't play against the Bucs all together, and they still swept us. So going into this playoff game, I was really concerned about that. Like, man, now they're all together. They got all their weapons. So let's see how it's gonna go. But exactly what Bigg Slim. So what were you gonna say?
So going back to that Michael Thomas thing. So in week that the first game that we played, Michael Thomas, that was when he got hurt on like the last. Even though it was the game was sealed basically, and they still had him in the game. And he was going for a block, and he ended up getting his ankle rolled up, and he had a high ankle sprain, if I'm not mistaken. And it was basically like, why was he even in the game doing that? Like, it was like Sean Payton, rubbing it in on Bruce Arians and the Bucs in general, what have you. And I remember not celebrating because he was injured. I'm like, well, goddamn, there you go. Like that, that man have no business in there trying to throw a block where he was. And that's why he did play that one game the first week, and then he missed the second game. Sorry, I cut you off there. Go ahead. Okay,
and did Kamara played the first game too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then I don't know why I thought they weren't all together. Well, anyways, yeah, so with that, I was like, all right, the big 3, playoffs, and they just swept them in the regular season, so I was really concerned. But my big moment, the same thing that Bigg Slim said, like once they intercepted, I felt like that was it. That's a wrap. It's over. Like now I could kind of relax now. And it was funny because I was watching the game at my stepsister's house, and she had her baby sleeping upstairs in his room, and I could not yell, I could not scream. I was like moving my arms, like I was just holding it inside, like let's go.
You have to text yourself in all caps.
Yes, just inside. It was just going crazy inside, but on the outside, just like I'm not gonna yell, not gonna wake up the baby.
Yeah. But I mean, again, like both of y'all said, it felt like a personal game, like every game against the Saints. That's why, for most fans that I know, that is the biggest rival. That's the most disliked rival. Most of us are, pretty cordial with the Atlanta fans for some reason, probably because they lost as much as we have. Carolina, we had our field with Carolina and Cam Newton because they were killing us for a while. It felt like, and New Orleans is just obnoxious. I mean, they got some great fans, but God, man, they're obnoxious. I hate them.
Yeah, for me, I guess it was more personal with the Saints because we had, before this Super Bowl win, we had one Super Bowl win. They had one Super Bowl win. So it's kind of like, all right, who's the top dog of the NFC South? Even though it's been a minute, we at least still have a Super Bowl win.
Right.
And another reason why I'm not saying I'm like I hate them.
It's okay. You can say you hate them.
I dislike the Saints. I'm like, hate's such a strong word. I dislike the Saints because I have some coworkers. They're a big Saints fans because they're from Louisiana, so they always root for the Saints. And one coworker of mine, we have little friendly wagers. Loser buys winner lunch. I spent so much money the past couple of years, man. So much money. So when they won this playoff game, I was like, that's why I was even extra happy because I wasn't going to buy him any lunch anymore. He was going to buy me lunch. So it's so good, especially during the playoff game.
Congratulations on your happy hour, your new lunch arrangements, man. They got you.
It was amazing.
And my thing is, and what was more sweeter than, putting them out and they had Jameis on the team in the playoffs. I know Jameis, he was that's why it was so sweet for this win, because James, on the video when they beat us the first time, second time, James was all eating W's and all this stuff, man. You look in the locker room, he dancing around. I'm like, dude, you don't even get in the game. Like, you are a third string. You're not even second string. Like, you're not even second string. But at the same time, like I say, I know Jameis went over there that, I think he had valid reasons. He wanted to kind of get behind Drew Brees. I kind of like Drew Brees as a quarterback. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks that played. So I get it. Career-wise, get behind a good quarterback, learn from him. I think Drew Brees is a really good quarterback, really cerebral quarterback, structured. I get all that. But at the same time, like, you can't tell me you didn't go to the Saints and just basically spill everything you knew about us. And whatever you can give them, any pointers or whatever. So, and then, it's really like how he reacted when we did lose to him, when they beat us those 2 times in the regular season. Like, he was just loving it. So for us to really get the last laugh, put him out, and humble him again, like, dude, like, this not even your team. You're not second string. And then Sean Payton put him in for a trick play. So all this was like, all this right here was just eating at me. So I'm just like, when they put him in, he threw the little touchdown. I'm just like, that's the only way you'll be able to get a touchdown out of Jameis. He got to be open field, blue cover. Otherwise, he'll throw a pick. But for Sean Payton to do all this, have Jameis Winston throw a touchdown on us, in our face, in the playoffs, and then we at the end of the day, we get the win. Like I say, this was the one game, like, out of all the playoffs, this was the one game I was really, like, biting my nails out through the week. Like, I had really took a hiatus from social media. Like, I didn't want to, like, you know how I am, Robert Gray. I get into the occasional group talk, and we kind of go back and forth, just talk about what, like, through the playoffs, like, we haven't been to playoffs really since,
2007, 13 years, man.
So,
like, I'm older now. Like, 2007, I was, 21 years old. So I'm older now. Like, I really invest in the team. Like, I buy DirecTV Sunday ticket. I buy gear and stuff. Like, I care. So for us to really beat the Saints the way we did them after everything that went on beforehand and really get the real icing on the cake, the last laugh, third time a charm, all that. Yeah. That's it.
I had a feeling Jameis was going to have a good pass because he's not known to throw very well to Buccaneers players. So
but he throw damn well to New Orleans players. Though. He got 5 years of practice with that now.
Even when they wide open, he throw real good,
real well. But I mean that was the game that a lot of cats were nervous about. Man, I went into it thinking again the defense. The entire playoffs, I was like, there was nobody I thought the defense was going to, just struggle against. And that's how it was the entire season. But I was especially excited about the New Orleans game because I just wanted I wanted the BUCS to end Drew Brees' career. I wanted the BUCS to end any talk about the former starting quarterback. I just knew that the BUCS had too much to offer defensively and offensively against New Orleans. And again, I felt that way pretty much against every team. But again, that game, man, against New Orleans, it was, I agree 100% with you, Bigg Slim. It definitely felt like a personal, got to get it. If you don't, can you imagine losing that game?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
That would have been a heartbreaker. I think that would have broke a lot of hearts, man. Like, fans, teammates.
Ooh.
Like, it would definitely hurt because not only did we lose this game and get put out of the playoffs, they beat us. They full sweep. Beat us 3. Yeah. Not only that, then you got our former quarterback on that team, and you give it. Hey, Drew Brees. If they get past us, I think Drew Brees and them beat the Packers. So, I think they go all the way. Granted, nothing of they voodoo stuff that's been going on the last 2-3 seasons where it's just something, out of their control that happens. But I really think this was the game that dictate who go all the way to the Super Bowl between us and the Saints, because I really didn't think the Packers could go. I think the Packers was just, they didn't And when you think about the Packers, I relate that to Aaron Rodgers. Maybe this is a segue to your next conversation, but when I think about the Packers, I just think they have a lack of a backbone because that's how Aaron Rodgers is. I think Aaron Rodgers is a great all-world quarterback. I just think he doesn't have the backbone to face adversity and persevere. And we proved that 2 games in a row. When the going get tough and the heat is on, Aaron Rodgers fold. Yeah. So I didn't see Aaron Rodgers really making it, all the way and winning it all without, granted he didn't go against a good defense. So
yeah. See, and that's a notion that I've never had as far as like Aaron Rodgers and the persona of that team not being able to come back from being down and anything like that. I mean, it could be just something I overlooked, but it was nothing I ever really paid attention to as far as like Rodgers and his inability or whatever it may be that if the team gets down, then
yeah, man.
See, I've never even noticed that. If that's
I guarantee you, man. Rodgers, like I say, Rodgers one of them quarterbacks. If the going get tough, Rodgers don't have a backbone. He's good. He's good. He's very good in his favor. That's why you hear in the storyline leading up to the playoff game, he always wanted the NFC Championship in his hometown because he kept losing. Going visiting other NFC Championship game. When he was away, he always lost. So what he always cried about, I just need the NFC Championship in my home turf. And we went up there and kicked his ass. So it's just like, and you see the game we played him in the season, when he couldn't do anything, you can see him crumble. Like when he's scoring, it's good. He doing celebration. He was doing a little celebration and all this stuff.
Yeah. Three pumps and go.
Top of the world. But when it's time for him to really dig deep, like Aaron Rodgers folds. Like he folds all the time. And I think that's what we kind of knew as a defense and as a team. But that's my forever kind of perception on Aaron Rodgers. And as long as Aaron Rodgers there, I think that feeds into the team. Like when the going get tough and you need Aaron Rodgers to pull it off, sometimes he can. But as a player, I think Aaron Rodgers is one of them guys that he lacks a backbone of perseverance. Like when it's going to get tough, Aaron Rodgers will crumble. When the pressure on him, he will crumble. That's why Sue is the way he is toward Aaron Rodgers, because I think Sue knows mentally he's kind of weak in that kind of aspect.
Funny enough, man, Sue was actually on Shannon Sharp's podcast today, and he was talking about the Aaron Rodgers situation. Yep. And he was talking. Yeah, they were talking about squash and everything, and actually finally getting a chance to talk after that NFC Championship game and so forth. So that was good to hear. I'll talk on that a little bit later. Juan, the game against the Packers, man. Did you go into it thinking it was going to go any other kind of way? Obviously, again, you're a BUCS fan and you're nervous about every matchup. What were your thoughts on this one, man? Before, during, and after?
Well, I mean, the teams are good that are in the conference championship game, no doubt about it. Both teams are going to be good because it takes a lot to make it there, So the Packers are firing on all cylinders at the time. Another thing that I was thinking about is the weather. I was wondering, how much the weather is going to affect a Florida team going up to a team that's used to playing in that kind of weather, like half of the season or maybe like a quarter of the season. I'll just, say a quarter. Yeah. So that was concerning to me because I was thinking, all right, the weather may be it's going to be taken into factor, like how much can Brady throw, how much is the run game going to be used, and things like that. But I mean, they pulled it off. Yeah. They pulled it off.
I think the only concern I had was the exact same concern that I had pretty much in every game this season after probably week 5 was a slow start from the offense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every game, that's always been my deal. Like and I talked about this and I've written about it. It was going to be the BUCS have pretty much all except for maybe 2 games, and pretty much every game except for the Super Bowl. Damn near, man. They slow starts or they go into a lull where they just basically give the game away, which we did see in this game.
Right.
So there's one thing that I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bigg Slim.
No, I was gonna say this was actually the game they had probably the best start of the entire season because they walked it right. They got the ball. They ran first down, ran second down, third down, pass. Okay, we get the conversion. We run first down. We run second down. We pass third down. Like we literally walked the ball down on them first possession. Like it blew my mind, and I was like, this is what we can be because it was just unstoppable. It was like they couldn't do anything. So That was the best out of the whole season, Super Bowl included, playoff included. This playoff game against the Packers, that was the best first possession I ever seen. Like, it was literally like playing Madden. I'm going to run it first down, run it second down, okay, third and short or third and long, whatever it might be, okay, we're going to throw it and we're going to complete it. You can't stop it. Like, it was literally like dead laid out. Like, they couldn't do anything. So, yeah, like, man, first stars, man, early stars, slow stars has definitely been like something that kind of hinder us. But this game, I would say personally, Robert, like this game, when I saw the first game, yeah, man, that first position, that was the best I ever seen. Besides, I put it like this: the first Saints game, the first game of the season against the Saints, we had a very, very, very good start,
right?
And it kind of blew my mind. I was just like, oh wow, you know, Brady snuck in for the touchdown. And I was like, oh shit, like this is what we've been missing the last 5 years. Like literally, like it looked like it was an NFL team, like a Madden team going against a rookie. Right. But you know, everything kind of ran its course. But I would say that, but of course this game, not because y'all but yeah, man, this was probably the most convincing first star position we ever had that I just be like, okay, they can't mess with us. They can't F with us. Like, it's really on us to lose this game because we came out right out the coin toss and proved it.
Right. Yeah. Juan,
This is the start of the second half. Yeah, that's when the Packers were picking things up. But there was one thing that I felt definitely deflated the Packers side, and it was – and I was actually watching the game from my home, so I was going loud and crazy. My sister was joining me also, so she was like – I was telling her about the game. And it came to that fourth down situation. And before they made the play, I was telling my sister, like, yeah, they're going to go for it. Yeah, the MVP quarterback. Well, this was before he was given the MVP award, but we all knew it was going to go to him. Yeah. They had, like, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You want to win the game, you're going to have to put the ball in your best player's hand. Who's it for Packers? Aaron Rodgers. So when it came to fourth down, I was like, they're going to go for it. They're going to go for it. And when they did, I was like, yo, what? Yeah. I was like, no way. That was like a gift given to us. Like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, I will take that. I'm not going to say nothing. I don't want him to, like, rethink it. Like, go ahead. Just go with that play. And then once I saw, I was like, oh, man, I felt like that hurt them pretty badly. And you even saw Aaron Rodgers. He was upset about it afterwards. But.
Yeah. He talked about that as well on the Pat McAfee show. He was talking about, they just didn't ask him. He didn't get consulted as to whether or not they should go for it or whatever. He played the quarterback position. He wasn't playing coach. But yeah, that killed him. But again, going back to the lapses and the fear of what the offense could and couldn't do and so forth, and not playing a full game. Again, that second half came, man. That second half came, and I swear to Moses, we scored a touchdown on the first possession, and starting the third quarter. Then 3 straight turnovers, 3 straight interceptions that didn't make any damn sense to me, and I'm just like, this is gonna be the time where I have to kill somebody. Like this is and this is it. This is where the Tom Brady completely goes off the rails, which he did. But thank God the defense didn't shudder. The defense did not blink. The defense, no matter what Green Bay did, the defense was still there and they were still doing their thing. Granted, they did get they got 2 touchdowns? Yeah, they got 2 touchdowns in the second half.
Yeah.
But they were hard earned, man. The Bucks did not look like they were, like they were slipping. But those 3 interceptions back to back to back. I was like, yo, did somebody switch Tom Brady with the last dude again? It felt like a parody. I'm like, what is going on? It was like we were trying to give the game away. So that made me nervous. Again, every game up to that point, I think with the exception of the maybe week 17 against Atlanta, every time like there was a big lull in the offense, and that was the only thing that scared me. So that NFC Championship game where that happened, boy, I was like, whew.
It was going good in the first half, and once the second half kicked, I was like, no, you got to be kidding me. Is this where the heartbreak's going to happen? You got to be kidding me.
Oh, God. And I was, boy. And again, I go back to some, before we go into the Super Bowl, man, I go back to something I said prior to the Super Bowl, even, not the Super Bowl, with the playoffs even starting. I was still, even to this very moment, I'm still not sold on my offensive coordinator and my head coach. I understand that it's blasphemous. I get it. It's blasphemous. How can you be upset about well, not upset, but how can you even mention any flaws with the coach or the OC when they won the Super Bowl when we did? Before that playoff run happened, week 16, I was like, yo, unless the Bucs make it to the NFC Championship title game and win convincingly, and the offense looks completely different than it has the past 15 weeks, like, I've seen enough. Like, this is crazy. Like, I didn't think the offense should be looking so bad every week. And again, Bigg Slim, you've been on the podcast with me several times, and I've said the same thing, man. I'm like, yo, to go into every game and look like we're still struggling to find an identity and find out what we're supposed to do against this particular opponent on the offensive side of the ball, it was infuriating. Like, it was just like, it was crazy. So when I started seeing that second half in Green Bay, when my quarterback threw 3 back-to-back interceptions, and I'm looking at the sidelines, like, what the hell is, like, who's coaching? Like, why the hell is this happening with one of our better players, or what should be our better player, and a 20-year veteran, Tom Brady, who is not reining his man in and giving him the most simple plays or the most simple solutions to not be doing this shit? I was like, yo, like, this can't happen. Like, I was going into panic mode, full clip.
I was too.
I was going into panic mode. Man, it was unbelievable to see 3 interceptions on. Like, it literally felt like I was watching that other dude, number 3. I was losing it. I was like, this can't be it. Like, this is like the worst heartbreak. And if the Bucs had lost that game, I probably would have walked down to Raymond James Stadium. I would have walked down to Raymond James Stadium and handed in every bit of paraphernalia I had for the Bucs this season, dude. I would have lost it. Then I would have walked over to One Buck Place and asked for my money back, man. I would have lost it because it went up so high. My expectations from going back to January 16th of last year, my expectation for the next season was Super Bowl or bust. Like, the Bucs had to make it to the Super Bowl, and Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, I'm saying that, and the Bucs didn't make it on that terrible performance, led by what should have been our best player on the offensive side. Had it burned down in flames in that moment, I would have lost it. Like, I would have been like, yo, if Bruce Arians and his coordinator can't get his guy together in order to make this thing right and not do what he just did, like, I would have advocated for both of them to be gone. Like, that's how bad of a panic I was in. I was like, this is crazy.
I was in the same boat as you too, but I was trying to tell myself to calm down because I'm like, all right, look at it this way, like, what they did going to the NFC Championship alone is impressive. Of course, I always want them to win the Super Bowl, but going to the NFC Championship is really impressive, especially with what this past year was with COVID and everything going on. They didn't really have like a true off season. They had Tom Brady coming in with the new teammates, new team, new coaches. And then for them to, sync up. Of course, the beginning of the season was kind of like a little rough here and there, but then they started picking it up. So I'm like, that's very impressive for them to get this far with what was going on. So I was like, that was pretty impressive. And I'm just happy that they even continued and they won that game.
Right.
I guess I was telling myself that to calm myself down because I was like you too. I was like, man, this can't be happening. This can't be happening.
I was losing it, man. I won't lie. I ain't no need to be sugarcoating it. It was, and I know what it was. I mean, it's just a little bit of it. A little bit of it was absolutely, it was fear to a degree, but it was also a little bit of, it may have been what felt like confirmation bias. I'm like, yeah, the offense is gonna be what kills us, and it's just gonna blow up in our face. And I was just hoping that wasn't gonna be the case where it happened. But again, thank goodness Todd Bowles had that defense in the positions that they were in, and they were talented enough, solid enough to come back and make that. And I'm sorry, in that game the way they had played it most of the time. Also, again, that was my guy Vita Vea's. That was his return.
Yep,
that was his return.
I was just about to say Big Vita, man.
Yeah.
Game changer.
The return of the Mac.
Hey, for real, that's game changer.
You know what, Todd Bowles, he knew how to use those players. And then also to give credit to another guy, Jason Light, what he did drafting these players was incredible because 6 defensive starters were drafted. So Vita Vea was drafted, Devin White drafted, Carlton Davis, Murphy Bunting, Whitehead, Winfield. 6 guys that are starting for that defense were all drafted. They're all picked up through the draft. And then, they're like one of the best defenses in the NFL now.
Yeah.
So credit to Jason Lyon and credit to Todd Bowles for knowing how to use those pieces and put it in positions to succeed and be a dominant defense.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. And I mean, I've got my issues with Jason Light too, because I'm like, again, this could have been happening for 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not. I think you got a clean slate.
I guess better now than never.
Better now than ever. Right. We got a clean slate going in. All right. So the big game, the big one. I had to watch it from the house. Bigg Slim, you watching it where? From Memphis?
Yeah, I was watching it at the house, man.
Watching it at the house, watching it from Memphis, and Juan. Man, lifetime achievement, man.
Incredible experience, experience. I got to give a shout out to my family because they're the ones that helped me get tickets because it was just crazy. So
now,
some of my family members helped me get there. So I was like, oh my goodness, it was crazy.
So let me ask you, man, did you make it to the NFL experience and all that stuff too, or no?
No, I didn't because tickets are sold out, and on Friday and Saturday you had to make reservations for that. So they were already booked already because they're only allowing a limited capacity. So I didn't really get to do the whole NFL experience. I didn't really do much when I was in Tampa because of the whole COVID situation. I hang out with my family, and someone feel they're high risk. So it's kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna hang out. My cousin and I went together, and we're just gonna hang out, do small little things here and there where there's not much of a crowd. And then for the most time, just hang out at the hotel. So when it was game day, we just went straight to the stadium.
Okay.
But I go to Tampa once every year, so I've had the Tampa experience. I can normally, hang out, go to Clearwater Beach, hang out there and stuff like that, Ybor City. So.
Right. Now, I guess I should mention, the first time I actually met you, man, first time I actually met you was actually at a Bucks game. You had your custom J's on. Which one's the red and white ones? Which one was it?
They're the cherries right there.
Yeah,
hard.
Dope.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
I like them.
Dope as hell. We were at we were in the little corridor. I think we were. Oh man, what was going on? I think we were doing a What was going on? I was thinking it was one of the games where we had a delay. I might be wrong.
I'm trying because we bumped into each other around the concession stand there.
Yeah,
we were just walking around. Yeah,
right.
Each other there.
And I looked down. I forget who I was with, but I looked down. I saw the shoes. I'm like, yo, stop. I was like, let me see those. He was like, yo. I'm like, yo, where did you get those? And he's like, yo, I make them. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I make custom kicks. I'm like, get the f out of here, man. Give me your card, give me your Instagram, give me something. I need to hit you up. And yeah. I was just like, yo, those are dope. Show me them one more time, man.
Yes, sir. Here we go. Yeah, I wear them every game day, man. Every game day. Is the camera good in the camera?
Yeah.
Every game day, I always rock these kicks. I even rocked them to the Super Bowl too. I had to rock them to the Super Bowl. Had to.
Yeah, I tell you, where is my? I think I had a photo of you, I guess, at the Super Bowl. I had a couple of them actually when you were at the Super Bowl. But yeah, so your experience at the Super Bowl, you got to make it.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, I'm one of those type of person that's like the game ain't over until I see the clock hit 0:00. In this case, I was like, I'm not gonna get crazy until I know I'm inside the stadium. So my cousin and I, it was the tickets were digital. Oh yeah, that's the image with the CBS Sports cast. They were out there in front. It was pretty cool. Nate Burleson, Tony Romo, they were all there. That was during the halftime show the weekend. Some people were telling me they didn't like the halftime show, but it's so different when you're there. It was pretty cool. People were just having the same vibe. People were dancing around the stadium. So it was really neat. It was pretty cool. The podium, that's the podium where they were presenting the championship, the Lombardi Trophy. That was awesome. Just knowing that I was in the same stadium with the Lombardi Trophy being presented to Tom Brady. I was like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's
but
dope.
yeah, at the beginning of the game, when we were walking to the stadium, like I was like, I hope like these tickets, like they better be legit. Like I mean, they're legit. Ticketmaster called me just to make sure I had my tickets. So I was like, okay, Ticketmaster's getting a hold of me about my tickets because it wasn't a little cheap purchase. So I was like, okay, Ticketmaster called me legit for sure. I got up off StubHub, so it's legit also. So once they scanned my ticket and it went green, it's like, all right, you guys could proceed through. I just got goosebumps, and I was like, my cousin, like, we're in, dude. We are in right now, man. This is crazy. Like a Buccaneers Super Bowl on their home stadium, watching them compete for a Super Bowl is like, we never know when this is going to happen again. This has never happened.
Yeah, once in a lifetime, man.
Yeah,
once in a lifetime. And again, this is from your IG, the custom kicks as well as going into the stadium.
Yeah, that was like right in front of the stadium, man. I just could not believe it that I was there. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience. Like crazy. I can't believe that. Now I'm have that memory forever now. So it's great, and especially getting to watch the baby Bucks win.
Oh man. So when you
couldn't ask for more, man. You couldn't ask for anything
else.
As a fan, you couldn't ask for anything else.
That's literally one. Again, people throw around the term once in a lifetime. Like that, 55 Super Bowls has not been a team to go. 54 previous Super Bowls and no home team is playing in front of their home stadium. And their home crowd. Yeah. It may never happen again.
Yeah, it's funny because I was trying to stay safe from COVID and everything like that. Just keep my distance. I mean, shoot, I started learning how to play golf. I used to play basketball, and I'm learning how to play golf. Like it was like do some sort of sport in this COVID stuff. And at the beginning of the season, I joke around with some of my friends like the only time I travel is if the Buccaneers make it to the Super Bowl. Fast forward to February, I'm like, oh shoot, they made it to the Super Bowl, so I'm traveling. Yeah. Like what Bruce Arias says, no risk it, no biscuits. I was like, whatever, let's risk this, let's go.
And I mean, I was down in Central Florida for the time. I actually stayed down there for the. I had a couple jobs going down in Orlando, so I had a couple jobs going in Orlando, and then I just ended up staying. I ended up staying inside of. I ended up staying in Central Florida because I wanted to see. I just wanted to see everything. I wanted to feel everything while I was in that stadium. I was not in the stadium, but in the city and in town. So I drove over. To Tampa to go do the NFL experience. Yeah, as a season ticket holder, they had like the moments, or they had like a day in which you can go to the you can go to the NFL experience, and it was just Bucks fans.
Yeah.
So I was
the game. It felt like a home game for sure. Like definitely felt like a home game for sure. Like when you're out in the crowd, you just see a lot of Buccaneers fans that was around us. Like, man, this feels like a home game, but it's a Super Bowl. It's like it's crazy. Like it was good, definitely good.
Yeah. So I was there for like I was there watching all of. Yeah, I was there watching all of the stuff at the NFL experience with a bunch of fans. But even in the NFL experience, it says it was just supposed to be Bucks fans, but it was everybody. It was everything. And that whole NFL experience, it was a pretty cool setup. It was basically like a theme park. Cool. It was basically like a theme park, but it was kind of also not great because I hate waiting. Like it was like literally to go and see the Lombardi Trophy. Like to see the Lombardi Trophy, the wait was it was an hour and 20 minutes at one point.
Way.
I'm not even kidding. Not even kidding. It was I was like, yo, I can't wait. Like I won't wait. I won't wait in line for anything. Except for Bucks tickets, which I waited for 4 years. What's up?
I said, that's a long time, man.
Man, I'm not kidding. And also, like, to go to the NFL experience, which is like the biggest tent that they had there, which had like all the uniforms, all the helmets and all that stuff. Like, even that line was like an hour to get in there. It was super crazy. But again, like the NFL experience was like a really dope thing. If you're an NFL fan and you were actually in the area, like it was a dope thing to see. I, like you, Juan, I was very concerned with the whole COVID deal and, being careful around everybody in Florida. No disrespect to anybody in Florida. I mean, I lived there for basically, 17 years. I just moved away from there like a year or so ago. But it was a little bit of a crazy situation for me. I was trying to keep safe, trying to make sure, I was being careful for myself and for other people. So I was also trying to stay away. But I did go to the NFL experience.
Man, it looked fun.
Yeah, and I wanted to go out and try to chat with a bunch of other, Buccaneers fans and get everybody's opinion on the game and so forth. But it was weird. It was so weird and crazy to be there because the weather was just crazy. Like in some of the videos you'll see, dude, like the weather was so up and down. Like I swear to you, it was like that season from that episode from Lost where you see a beach and you see, all the beautiful stuff on the beach and then you see a polar bear. That's exactly how it was, man. It was like you see cats in shorts and then have on a bomber jacket. You'd be like, hey, wait, go. And then you feel it like, yo, from 7 o'clock to 11, it'd be cold as hell. Yeah. But then as soon as 11:15 hit, man, you'd be like, yo, where's my tank top? This is crazy. That's how it was being there at the NFL experience and then that time in Tampa for the Super Bowl. But it was crazy. I think by the time the Super Bowl came around on Sunday, the weather had gotten up to a pretty comfortable level. But it was crazy. It was good. Actually, I was checking up on the forecast because before I flew from Dallas to Tampa, they said the forecast was going to be raining throughout the whole weekend. So I was like, oh, dang, it's going to be raining. So I bought like ponchos, like Buccaneers ponchos, just to wear just in case. But I mean, how the weather is in Florida, so it's going to be raining, but then it doesn't rain. Right, because it was supposed to.
I was just be prepared just in case.
Right, because it was supposed to rain that morning. It was supposed to rain that morning, then ease up going into the game, or possibly dissipate completely, which it did. But yeah, it freaked out a lot of cats. That man, it was crazy. But again, that was the NFL experience. You had the Super Bowl experience, man.
Man, it was great. And then the way they set things up was the seating area. You had your seating pods. I mean, you weren't like in an actual pod, but you had like your own little seats.
Right.
So the way it worked is you had your seats, depending on how many tickets you buy. I think they're only selling them in
packs of threes, right?
1, 2s, and 4s, I think. Well,
I think it was 3s.
2s, and 4s.
I thought,
3s? Okay,
yeah, I think it was 3s.
Where I was sitting at. Okay, so where I was sitting at, it was 2 seats, and then the seats in front of us were empty, the seats behind us were empty, and the 3 seats to our left were empty, and the 3 seats to our right were empty. But they were filled up with the cardboard cutouts.
Yeah,
like
the cutouts.
Yeah. So they have cardboard cutouts that were in that area. So then 3 seats to our left were empty, but then we had another group sitting there. Then another 3, and then another group. So that's how they were doing to keep us spread out. When it came to the concession stands, man, I was quick and easy. I just go down there, get what I needed to get to eat, and then come back up. I didn't really miss a lot of action. We're normal in a regular season game.
Yeah,
you stand in line
for a minute. Yeah, but then again, it's because like they didn't allow many people. I think it was like 22 that they're allowing inside the stadium, in a stadium that could fit like 70 or 60,000 people in the stadium. So it was different, though. My cousin and I were kind of looking. I was like, man, this is different because we've been in a regular season Buccaneers game. And even then, it felt more packed, more people walking around left and right. But inside Super Bowl, was like, man, because of COVID, it's like, man, you could definitely tell COVID hit for sure. Because it was a little empty. We were able to go in the concession stands, get our food, and quick and easy. I was like, man, not many people here. But I liked it because I was not missing any action. So that was good for me.
So how many cats went with you? And was it just you and one cousin, or how many people were with you?
Yeah, just me and one cousin.
Okay.
It was just him and I, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just him and I. But, yeah, of course, we're sitting up in the upper levels. Man, I wish I could afford to sit down in lower levels. But, I mean, just being there was crazy. It was awesome. Yeah, back to the weather they're talking about. It was fine at the beginning, but once it got night and dark, man, I was cold. I just had shorts on and a jersey on. It got cold, but I was jumping up and down, cheering, clapping, so that kept my body warm. My cousin, he's a Steelers fan, so he was watching, but he was like excited to be at the Super Bowl, like anyone would be. So he was enjoying it too, but he didn't have a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
So he was like sitting observing and stuff like that while I was just like cheering, going crazy. I lost my voice and everything like that, but it was amazing.
It was worth
awesome.
it. Now was there?
It was.
I lost my voice when I was at home. Really, man.
I was actually at a Super Bowl party with three of my friends, all female. So it was a different experience for me. I don't think I can be upset because they were all beautiful women. So it was fine.
Yeah, I was like, this is not the part I need to be in, man.
Yeah, it was pretty all right. So Juan, man, so again, you mentioned your cousin. He's a Pittsburgh fan, and I know for a fact, I know from experience, getting to the Super Bowl and going and seeing the crowd around you, not even being, not having a dog in the fight, like in that very situation, where a lot of those tickets in any normal time, those would be corporate tickets. Like those would not be they would not be fans of the Buccaneers. They wouldn't be fans of the Chiefs. They would be fans of whoever the hell gave them free tickets for the most part. That's how it is for a lot of the corporate peeps that go to the game in a normal situation. Did you happen to see a whole lot of other neutral fans or fans? How was it, the Buccaneer to Chiefs ratio from your viewpoint?
You know what? It was actually a good ratio. Of course, more Bucks since it's in their own city, so more Bucks for sure. But, it was different compared to other Super Bowls that you would see on TV because, like what you said, you'd see people just wearing just, a regular shirt or, just something different. It's, two different teams and some guys wearing, a blue shirt. Chiefs are red and black, Bucks are red and black, and, pewter.
Then a random Patriots jersey.
Yeah. And I did see some Patriots jerseys because there was Brady fans there.
Of course.
But, but most part, it was a lot of Buccaneers fans. And then there's a Chiefs fan, so it looked pretty good. It was pretty good. I didn't see a lot of the corporate people just wearing just a regular casual shirt or anything like that. So it was Bucks or Chiefs. That was pretty cool to see. And like I said, it did feel like a true Buccaneers home game because everyone was chanting Tampa Bay. I know they weren't able to fire the cannons during the game because they want to keep things neutral. And then also at the same time, at the home games, how one side yells Tampa, the other side yells Bay. They weren't able to do that because they needed to keep things neutral. But in my head, I'm like, man, just imagine how loud it would get if they did that for the home team. And we're trying to huh?
Now, I'm about to say, I think that, since we actually beat the odds to play in our own home Super Bowl, they should allow us to do that.
They dropped the ball on that one. They dropped the ball on that one.
Home field. It's like denying the home fans to not be home fans. Like you say, if it was a Super Bowl or not, it was still home fans there.
Yeah.
It's still for a home game kind of. It wasn't you have just people all over who got the money to be able to get in the game. You go outside the stadium. I was looking at Snapchat and stuff like that, and it was just I'm looking at the tailgates and people in traffic. It just felt it felt like a homecoming game, the biggest game of the season. You know what I mean? Right. So I really feel as far as the cannons today, I'm sorry, Chiefs, but you guys in Tampa Bay, this still an NFL game.
Right. So
happened that the NFL team that your stadium you're playing in is playing in that game. It should be that type of advantage, kind of I mean, just okay, say for instance, Super Bowl next year in LA. If imagine LA go to the Super Bowl, beside us, we somehow, LA making a push. They got Matt Stafford. So say if LA go, just imagine how many people in LA are going to be there that's Ram fans. When you just think about a market perspective, LA versus Tampa. So I think you should reward the fans and the team that do what it takes to get to play in their own home Super Bowl. It should be, even though it's neutral as far as it's certain privileges. But if your stadium has a certain type of, celebration mechanism as far as firing the cannons or whatever the case is, I think they should have let that happen. We earned it. You know what I mean? We earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the deal was, for me, man, it felt like he definitely dropped the ball on that one because you play the game regular season to get home field advantage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it not the same case with the Super Bowl? It's unprecedented. It was unprecedented.
Yeah.
Why not reward a team that beat the odds and did exactly what every other team did to have home field advantage?
Right, and that's the ultimate home field advantage. You get home field advantage throughout the playoffs, but if you get home field advantage throughout the Super Bowl, that should be an added incentive to any team in the playoff. So for next year, LA, this should be the incentive for their whole year. Hey guys, if we good enough, we can get home field advantage, and if we're really special, we can get home field advantage for our stadium. And
right.
It's all about being competitive. It's a competitive sport. It's what it is. If you're gonna be neutral, go somewhere where there's no NFL stadium.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
I'm pretty sure there's other stadiums out they can kind of accommodate what's going on. You got St. Louis. St. Louis is one of those cities that the Rams moved. They still have a whole dome. It's a big city. You can go somewhere or make it neutral. Whatever the case is, but I think for the odds that it takes for a home team to play in their own home Super Bowl, that should be the added like icing on top incentive. Like, if you guys can go do this, if you guys can make it all the way to your home Super Bowl, then yeah, you got home field advantage. I'm sorry, Chiefs. I'm sorry, you got to deal with it. But you know, if it was in Kansas City, I'm pretty sure the Chiefs would have tried to do it. So I think that's the new bar and standard we just set for every NFL franchise. Like, if you know the Super Bowl is in your stadium, like, by God, you know, and granted, we went through COVID, so I can only imagine how much money and economic, you know, kind of influence they missed out because of COVID.
Oh, man, yeah.
You know, just imagine if everything get back to normal. I think a lot of teams are like, okay, the Super Bowl is not stadium. Why not go for it? Why not have that type of bragging rights and ultimate home field advantage? Just having a, you know, that's what I would look at. Just like in the NFL finals, you know, when they do the finals, wherever the game is played, it's still home field advantage. So
right. Yeah, I think it's only football, right? Well, I guess because like each team has an opportunity to host the game because it's best of 7 for NBA, best of 7 for hockey,
baseball. They all get home field advantage in the championship.
Yeah. So
everybody's down to get home field advantage except for football.
Yeah, I guess it's like a one-time game. It's like, you know, might as well just keep it a neutral side, I guess.
Yeah, they're gonna. I guarantee. I'm almost guaranteeing they're gonna change that whole thought process going forward.
Because that's what makes it so much special, so more special. Yeah. It really makes it. Because we, like I say, even when I was looking at some of the national pundits online, man, it was just like we really beat the odds. Like, and not only did we beat the odds playoff wise, we took the hardest route to the Super Bowl.
Hardest route, right? And all on the road.
And we did it with a new quarterback with no offseason. Like, no other team, like, basically, you know, endured and, like, basically beat the endeavors we did. We did everything that was against us, and we came out on top. So you should reward that.
Right.
Yeah. During the game, my cousin was asking me, who do I think should win MVP? This was, like in the third quarter, so if the Bucs win. I would have thought, you know, if there's a way to split it amongst the defense, because that defense, man, like I think so the Chiefs already had one offensive line already out. Another one ruptured his Achilles, I think, the game before against the Bills.
Yeah.
So because of that, I was like, those were, I guess, considered two top offensive linemen. Yeah. I'm like, man, like that's so far, like what I said in the beginning. I feel like the battles are won in the trenches. So if they can't protect Mahomes and pressure gets to him, he's not going to be able to do what he normally does. So with that, I was actually kind of interested to see like how they're going to hold up, how that line's going to hold up. So I was really interested in that in the beginning of the game, seeing if they can make the adjustments needed. And another thing too, I mean, praying for his family and everything like that, and also the family that got affected by it. But Andy Reid's son, didn't he get his son got in a car accident or something like that?
And the last, oh gosh, it's been 2 weeks now, but the last I had heard was that the two kids involved, they were like in critical condition. I don't think I've seen anything that followed up on it yet. Actually, it's my fault.
They said the youngest one that was in the hospital, that was in critical condition, she kind of woke up from a coma. So I think she's going to be okay. That was leading up to the Super Bowl that I think one of the little kids was like kind of like in bad shape, like really bad shape. But no, after Super Bowl, kind of subsequent days, she ended up waking up out of a coma or whatever. So she's going to be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody's going to be okay. That was the whole thing. Like, one of the kids was in really bad shape. They didn't know, but now they know it's on kind of the upward trend. But it still was a horrific accident, and I think Andy Reid's son has that history with kind of alcoholism, drugs, or driving behind the influence, whatever. He has a history of not too savory history of doing things that's kind of put other people in danger. So I think that was definitely something that wasn't good to have going into the most important game of the season, man. So for me as a Bucs fan, still got to show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was that was the case with everything. We, after the game, so forth. We kind of heard Devin White, mention, whoever they had that should have been the next man up should have been prepared to play, which was the deal. I mean, it's been the deal for the Buccaneers all season long. Godwin being out,
Stanley was a guy who was next man
coming in there, and all these other guys. But going into that game again, just to kind of cover the game itself again, like we've done the other ones. Was anything? Did anybody, either one of you, have like the fear, like holy shit, like damn it, we got this defense they got to go up against this dude who put up damn near 200 some yards in the first half the last time, and Tyreek Hill, and the mystique of a Patrick Mahomes. Did any of that go and cloud your mind as far as what was going to happen? Good.
So something that put my mind at ease was the first time that they played the Chiefs in the regular season. Yeah, Hill tore us up. He burned us in the first half. But in the second half, it seemed like the Bucs were picking up, and they almost had an opportunity to win that game. Yeah, I felt like, okay, well, that kind of put my mind at ease with that game. And then also on top of that, offensive linemen, they're having struggles in the offensive line starting lineup for the Chiefs. So that helped me as well to kind of put my mind more at ease also.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I think Todd Bowles would be smart to kind of perfect the perfect game plan to do what they needed to do. And I'm sure it's like, you know what, we're not going to leave Tyreek Hill in a one-on-one coverage. And defensive line stepped up because since already putting pressure on Patrick Mahomes, Hill wasn't able to do what he normally does. And it's just like he's just running for his life. And I think I read that he ran over 400 yards scrambling, just trying to avoid that D. And Todd Bowles is known for his blitzes. And he didn't really – I think what they said, he blitzed like 5 times that whole game.
I think so. I think that was what it was.
I think he blitzed like – no, hold on. I'm thinking, Tom Brady had like 4 pressures. But I'm not sure how many times blitz Bowles blitz, but yeah.
I think it was a crazy number. We're like, no way. And it was just that front four that was just putting pressure on Mahomes over and over and over again, especially with Shaq Barrett and JPP, man. Those guys are just –
mean.
They're monsters, man. Monsters, man.
I mean, for me, it was easy pickings, and I think like, and Robert can attest to this. Like when you really like kind of know football, like know the ins and outs, nuances, like you're not swayed by national media, all the hype. You really kind of level-headed. You know what I mean, Robert? Like you kind of really level-headed with the game, with the players, with the matchups. Like the whole week, I was just like, you know what, like. No, because when I felt out that, their right tackle went down, I'm like, okay, these guys have no starting tackles. And even, and to your point, in the first game, it looked bad early. And that's what everybody was going on for. Oh, Tyreek Hill did all this in the first half. I'm just like, dude, if you watch the game, you can really see that we really put all that on hold in the second half. And really, with Tyreek Hill, he really got all that off. You can just tell it was just bad defense, bad coverage. We're playing cover one single high. All Tyreek Hill had to do was just outrun his man from the line of scrimmage. And you don't have no back end coverage. And I think that's why Carlton Davis, when they showed the clip on the sideline in the first game, he was on the sideline trying to tell the coach, like, what do you want me to do? Like, you just left him out on the island just to fast him down the league. Like, it's nothing he could do. So, with the first game, it looked bad. And, with national opponents, these guys don't watch the game.
They don't watch
the whole game.
No,
I
don't.
watch every game. I don't miss a game. I don't miss anything. I devote my Sundays to NFL football. So, for me, when I looked at the game, it looked bad early. But what I saw, the turnaround and the adjustments we made after halftime, I was just like, we can get these guys. We really just ran out of time. When you think about it, we just couldn't get the ball back. And, and really early, like, it was like 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. Kansas City were playing keep away. Like, they really were just like, no, we just don't want to lose the game. They stopped trying to play to win. They just really just like, all right, let's just run the clock out. Because they was kind of scared of us getting the ball back because they really just couldn't stop us. So, with that game in mind and leading to the Super Bowl and in the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, you hear everything. You hear they have no starting tackles. And for that, they really done it for me. Cause I'm just like, well, I don't think the Chiefs are really a good, team. I just think they have really good pieces. Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Kelsey. I think Patrick Mahomes is obviously the most, explosive quarterback in the league. Okay, give him that. You got Tyreek Hill. He's probably the most fastest wide receiver in the league. Give him that. Kelsey is the best tight end in the league. He's an overgrown receiver playing tight end. Give him that. Who else? What else about the Chiefs you can name? Can you name 4 guys on their defense? No. Can you name anybody in their secondary beside Matthew? No. Can you name any of their linebackers? No. who on the defensive line you can name besides
Chris
Frank Clark?
Jones. Chris Jones.
Or Chris Jones.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at this and I'm looking at our guys, it's just breaking it down. Like I break all the games, I'm just like, nah, man, they can't hold up. So we played them the whole time leading to the game. Like this Sunday morning, I was just like, everybody in the world, they just thought Mahomes was just this god. Like you can't beat Mahomes. He's so explosive. And I keep in mind, like even in the playoffs, man, the Chiefs could have lost to the Browns. The Browns had the Chiefs on the ropes.
On the ropes, yeah.
Mayfield didn't pull it off. So I'm just like, okay. And then throughout the playoffs, the Chiefs wasn't playing good. And let's go all the way back to the last Super Bowl, Robert. The Chiefs could have lost to the 49ers. They should have lost to the 49ers.
Yeah.
If Garoppolo made that pass to Emmanuel Sanders, it would have been over.
Ooh, so that's right.
Think about that. The Chiefs didn't look good in the Super Bowl last year, man. Like the 49ers really lost their game more than the Chiefs won it. Garoppolo blew that deep, wide open pass to Emmanuel Sanders, and that was the touchdown they lost in the game. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, yeah, give Mahomes his credit, give Mahomes his flowers. He won a Super Bowl. Oh wow, he's explosive. He do good. He in the AFC. Tom Brady's out of the AFC. Tom Brady don't have a good team. The AFC is wide open. The Chiefs is taking it. Give them their credit. But going for us, I'm just like, I don't think their defense can stop us. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that our defense is going to allow what happened last game to happen again. Basically spotting them 17 points out blown coverage. We're giving Ty Bowles 2 weeks to come up with a coverage. And granted, the Chiefs is not doing anything special. They really improv. They do all these trick plays and they leave it up to Mahomes. I think a lot of teams come into playing the Chiefs intimidated because they think they're so good, so they scared. But it's really like David White said, it's really finicky. It's really window dressing. Yeah. It's really just a lot of it's all that. And I'm just like, okay, if you really put our defense, how our defense is playing in the NFL, in the playoffs, we shut every team down. The Chiefs haven't played teams like us. We played everybody that was heavy hitters in the NFC between the Packers, the Saints, and granted the Redskins, but Redskins were playing good. Redskins had a respectable defense.
Yep.
So my breakdown on the game was I kind of felt confident, like I said earlier in this video. After the Saints, I think everything else was downhill. So when it came down to the Chiefs, I'm like, the Chiefs, it might be a shootout, but I don't think their defense could stop us. We just got to do our job. And granted, our defense did more than I even expected them to do. I knew we was going to have Mahomes on the run because they didn't have two good tackles. So I'm like, well, the edge is going to eat. We got to beat Vita Vea back. And that was really the main cog of our pass rush. We have no pass rush without Vita Vea. So with him back, he showed this in the Packer game. So I'm like, with Vita Vea back, I think our pass rush is back at full strength. I don't think Mahomes got a lot going on. And then Mahomes was slick injured. He had the turf toe. So I'm just like, that's right. So I'm just like, if we make sure our back end is good, we don't allow Hill to get loose, and we just keep Kelsey contained, which we did. Kelsey had a big game. He had 10. What Kelsey do? He had 10 catches for 133 yards, but he didn't score. I'll give him that. Levante David still did a hell of a job. I give Kelsey those stats, long as we contain him. But my whole thing was I wasn't worried, man. I knew our defense was going to come in and give Mahomes a run for his money. Now, granted, also, Mahomes made incredible plays. I think Mahomes should have had 2 touchdowns because he hit guys.
That was
ball.
Yeah.
Like, it was plays that, like, how the fuck he make that happen? Like, how the hell, like, on a scramble, he hit Tyreek Hill in the face with the ball, like, and then the guy, the play that I think they'll go down, like the OBJ catch, it's going to always be that clip of Mahomes throwing the ball when he was like in mid-air, throwing the ball sideways.
It was like Dennis Rodman going for that rebound where he's just like spread out. Just
it's one of those plays, like, and even in that play, he hit the guy in the face with the ball, and like his teammates really failed him. So even then, like, Mahomes gave it his all. I just think everything worked in our favor. I think our defense did exactly what they needed to do. Even to your credit, Robert Green in the Club Shay Shay podcast, where Sue was talking about the game, he was like, Bowles put it on the front 4, the front 3, front 7, how you want to play it, because they're playing nickel maybe. So really, it was between Sue, Golston, and Vita Vea. y'all guys clog up the middle. I got JPP and I got Shea Berry coming off the edges, and y'all go do work. And we got Vontae David covering Kelsey wherever Kelsey goes. We got White doing spy on anything coming out the backfield, secondary. Y'all put your hands on receiver, and this is what we're going to do. And I think it worked out masterfully. So, man, like.
It's amazing.
I'm not surprised. I went long, but I'm not surprised. That's how I looked at the whole game plan. But I kind of knew when we went into this game, I was like, everybody was on the Mahomes hype and the Chiefs hype. Oh, the Chiefs is better. But I was like I was like 95% confident we could pull this off. Like, I really was. I trusted our defense more than our offense, honestly. And that was the key to the game.
Indeed.
Yeah, I was out on the same boat too about like the defense was like, man, the defense is gonna like pull through it. They're gonna be the ones that are gonna help us win this game like the most, just stopping Mahomes. And
yeah,
they did it. They did what they needed to do, and they're champs now.
And the funny thing is, even with us doing Mahomes playing the type of defense we did play, you know, it was like Super Bowl defense. Mahomes still made plays. The guys dropped the ball. He had 2 touchdowns that he dropped, and Kelsey dropped the big third down conversion. So I trust me, I give Mahomes all the credit he deserved. Like, and he manned up and he came out and said, man, this is probably the worst I done got beat since probably high school. Like, we gave it to him, but I think what Mahomes showed was why he is a $500 million quarterback. Like, regardless of who is out there, I'm going to make what I can make, you know, and you give Mahomes a Mike Evans in one of those situations, a big X receiver, you know, that could have made those catches in the touchdown when he's throwing the balls up. Maybe those was touchdowns. You know, Tyreek Hill let one go, another guy let one go. Like, but – you know, to just bring everything to a close, man, I just think we were what we were, who I thought we was in that game. Like, we was a dominant team with a dominant defense, and it really came down to who defense was going to stop who. If we couldn't stop Mahomes, we lose that game because I don't think we'll be able to survive a shootout with them. Even though we had our weapons, even though I don't think that defense could stop us, I just think Mahomes a little more crafty than Tom Brady when it come down to it. I think our defense need to really keep Mahomes in check, and I think we had all the doors to do that with his tackles being out. And, you know, I think our defense was just really on a high streak, man. It's just I can go on and on about that guy. I done watched that game maybe like 5-6 times, man, over and over again. I got the game but yeah, man, it's just one of them games where I just really felt like it kind of remind you of the 02 Super Bowl. Where, it wasn't about Brad Johnson. It wasn't about our offense. It was strictly about our defense.
Yeah. Hey, so something that both you guys brought up was the first meeting, and something I brought up, I think before we started getting into the games, was that Todd Bowles don't do the same. You don't make the same mistake twice. I mean, he doesn't. And in this game, he did it. In the Super Bowl, he absolutely did not. Now, the biggest thing, again, full circle, the entire playoffs, and basically most of the season after week 5, I said the offense is the only thing that scared me. It was the Achilles heel of this team as a unit. When you looked at special teams, offense, defense, the offense is the only thing that routinely did the same thing, and it made me nervous. They had these slow starts. They had these lapses in production. The first game, when we talk about the Bucs spotting Kansas City 17, our offense, four straight punts to start the game. 3 of them, 3 and outs. Left the defense out to dry. That's your 17 points right there. The 17 point. That's your 17-point spot right there. And again, Slim mentioned it. I had mentioned it prior. If you get the chance, fellow Bucs fans, please go listen to Shannon Sharp's podcast, which featured Ndamukong Suh.
He said it.
He brought it up. He said it. And
he said it.
I told people literally a month ago, and then I reiterated right after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
One of those cats from the defense is going to tell you what's going on. And it's going to hurt some people's feelings. Initially, I thought it was going to be Devin White. I still stick to Devin White being the one to come out and actually just say it. He's going to say the defense bailed the offense out. Watch. He's going to say it. And Ndamukong Suh, he he alluded to it. He alluded to it on the podcast. Again, fellow Bucs fans, please go check that out. I'm not even the biggest Sue fan. At least I wasn't the biggest Sue fan prior to his joining the Bucs. Sue fan, and Ndamukong Suh, he talks some straight talk in his podcast, and he's a likable dude when you listen to him and how passionate he is about the team. Personally, I mean, it's a little bit off. I don't want to talk about this until further in the next week or so, until March 17th, when I stop celebrating this, the Super Bowl.
I'm still celebrating, man.
Yeah, I'm still celebrating, too. I know what you guys are talking about. I'm still,
there you go.
Let's go.
It's like, to me, it's like probably like 1 o'clock in the morning in the club where they starting to play some of the slow music. Everybody's starting to wind down.
Yeah.
When free agent come around, that's when time.
That's when the time to talk. Right. Until then,
I'm still celebrating.
Till then, them lights up. Till then, the lights up.
I have temp-based stuff everywhere I go, and I get the looks from guys that you know everybody's still wearing that football stuff. So 49er fans. I'm in Tennessee, so you got Titan fans. Man, you got everybody, Saints fans, and they give me this look. And guys literally stop me in the grocery store line, like, man, y'all guys really pulled it off. I'm like, hell yeah, we pulled it off. Like, like it's still fans, like, just locally that just can't believe that. First off, we got Tom Brady. Second off, we won the Super Bowl. And third of all, they were just like, man, you guys can do it again. Like, like, how you guys gonna bring Fred back? I'm like, look, they'll figure it out. I can't speak on it. It's still too early.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people just like, I think just like guys that's fans of teams that been having shaky quarterbacks, like they really realize like, wow, how much a like you ain't got to have the best quarterback, but just a good quarterback makes a difference in the team. Because I'm not like Tom Brady. I love Tom Brady. I got a jersey and everything, but I think Tom Brady did what we all wanted Jameis to do. Bro, you ain't got to throw for 300 yards.
Just don't lose the game.
Just play within the team, play within the game. Just, if we going to lose,
don't turn the ball over.
Don't help us lose. Just, if we going to lose, if we got outmatched, it just ain't our Sunday, it ain't our game, that's fine. Take that loss. Let's get ready for next week. But, bro, we ain't asking you to throw for 50 times a game. We don't care about 400 yards. We don't care about 6 touchdowns. In the Super Bowl, Tom Brady threw for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that was good touchdowns because it was in the red zone. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think we've been missing it, Robert, and you can attest, we've been missing this for at least, I would say we've been missing this since Fitzpatrick was on the team because I was a Fitz fan. I love Fitz. I think we should have kept playing Fitz the whole time, like until Fitz really fizzled out. I think we should have never set Fitz for James when he came back from the suspension. It showed what we can be, what type of team we can be, what kind of offense we can be with a competent quarterback. We don't have to have the big, high-flying quarterback. We just need a quarterback to not put us in harm's way every game. Like,
every game.
When you got James Winston throwing pick sixes, the first pass of the game. Like, dog, like, it's worse than a backup. Like, backups don't even have a chance to do what he did. No quarterback in history has a chance to throw. It won't be a team in NFL history that will go moving forward will allow a quarterback to throw 30 interceptions unless they have no 60. Other quarterback on the roster.
Listen,
I don't care what go on. Like, no team is going to allow a guy to throw 30 interceptions. It just
nah.
Yeah,
do you know how hard that is? Like,
not for Winston. But
it was.
No, what you're saying, leads me to believe that, and definitely with the turnovers, because last year that 1,500 total rushing yards. This year, 1,500 total rushing yards also. So it's kind of like the rushing was still the same. What was the difference? It was a lot of those turnovers and the interceptions, which gave the offense the ball back closer to our side of the field or the Bucs side of the field, and the defense just barely got up, and they got to come back on, so they don't have time to recover.
Right.
I think the less of the turnovers allow better game management, so we could run the ball. You know, you can be down and still run the ball if you don't have the threat of turnovers. You know, like. And it's one of the things, and I think that's why Fournette played a good role because he's a bigger back. He's more of a bell cow back. You can kind of hand it off to him 20 times a game. He's a very secure back. He don't really fumble as much like Rojo, and they still young, but I think you can really put money in the bank on Fournette that, he's not a guy that's gonna fumble the ball. He's gonna take care of the ball. He might not make those home run, type of carries, but you can hand out to him to get you those hard 3-4 yards, and we were just a different team, man. I'm not really just acting like Tom Brady was just a knight in shining armor, but I always said that if we just had Fitz or just anybody that can take care of the football, I think we was a total different team. Just in general, and it's not to take away from Tom Brady credit. I know Tom Brady's one of the greatest quarterbacks. I think Tom Brady did better than anybody could have did in his offense because of his experience and his decision making. But I've been begging to just have us a better decision making quarterback for at least 3 years, Robert.
Competent. I've called it again, man. I've written this stuff on my own site. I actually had to make my own site. It was that bad. It was that bad. I had to make my own damn site last year. I started writing for I'm gonna call it world famous whatthebuck.net. I started writing whatthebuck.net. I started writing I wrote 4 maybe articles for that blog, and then I ended up transitioning to my own. But I was writing about it in 2017. I was writing about it in 2000, and I was telling cats, man, and again, this is going to be something I'll talk about a little bit more of this offseason moving forward, but I'm going to end up, March 17th. I ain't talking about a damn thing other than the Super Bowl and the 2020 season until then. But I'm going to end up talking about it. It's just the Bucs just needed something competent. Bucs never needed a superstar quarterback. Bucs didn't need a superstar player. I mean, I have my issues again with Jason Lighton and how he constructed the team and how Bruce Arians, talk crazy and talk out of his ass 80% of the time, all this other kind of stuff, man. And that stuff just happens throughout the season, how it went. But the Bucs, again, just like we started the conversation of, the Bucs have been a team that had enough talent, physical talent, to be in the playoffs. It's been that way since 2016. And and if anybody who needs a refresher, the Bucs again were 9-7 in 2016. And when the season came down to the final 2 games, in order for the Bucs to close the season out and the chance to win, to play their time into the playoffs, with 2 games left, we had a quarterback who gave the ball away, if I'm not mistaken, it was 6 times in those last 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. And that was literally the difference between the Bucs breaking the playoff curse then 4 years ago and, us having to wait another few years and then another completely different quarterback in order to do it again. It comes off as personal, or it came off as personal to a lot of fans. As if I was attacking the quarterback then, which I realized I ended up having to not even say his name. I called him number 3 for the last 2 years. I'm not even bullshitting. I was like number 3. I refused to call him by his name because everybody thought it was personal. When I spoke of turnovers, I literally speak of turnovers. I never even spoke his name for the most part, even though the vast majority of it were on him, as in, fumbling and interceptions. Turnovers are the biggest differential stat when it comes to wins and losses in the NFL. The talent line the talent is just too close and it's too high for anything else. If you look at the wins and losses, the vast majority comes down to who turned the ball over and who did not. The Bucs have been in the bottom. The Bucs have been in the bottom 10 in turnovers, if not the very bottom 6 out of the last 7 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
This is the first year since 2013 that the Bucs weren't in the bottom 10 as far as turnovers. And the defense has been in the top 5. And in the top 5 of takeaways since 2016. The turnover differential was just that big of a deal. And again, it's hard for it comes off as a personal slight when you say that, when I bring these things up, because, I'm taking away from the quarterback. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not. The quarterback, his statistics are what they were. But the difference in this team, 2020 NFL champs, is the fact that the defense wasn't fucking buried by turnovers and mismanagement by the offense. Even though the offense put them in, terrible spots, being slow off the start of too many games and then having these lapses too many times during the process of game, the difference is, and again, I revisit this one more time, and Ndamukong Suh brought this back up again on that podcast. He was saying, he said that when you get a defense that can get off the field and have a breather or two without having to come right back on the field, it makes a vast difference and they can play so much better. I've been saying this since 2016, and again, it was buried. I had to make my own damn site to write all this stuff and put it out there because cats did not want to hear it. I'll be talking about this in the next couple of weeks, but what we put on our quarterbacks, the credit as well as the blame is so ridiculous. I saw it from the FSU guys for the last 5 years prior. I see it from the New England transplant fans now. When I bring up this stuff, man, when I talk about the defense, I'm not trying to take away from the offense and the players that we love on our Buccaneers team. But that is literally, when you talk about the 2020 Bucks, I don't care what any national pundit tells you. I don't care what the hell the highlights and the clips tell you. If you ain't talking about Todd Bowles and his damn defense.
That's defense wins you championships.
Yeah.
Defense wins you championships. Proven again this year.
Yeah, man. Defense travels too.
Defense travels.
The whole playoffs. Defense travels, man. Todd Bowles, man, he has the recipe. I think the players we have know this. I think the players that's up for free agency know this. And I think players outside looking like, oh, wow, like he know what he's doing.
Got something good. Yeah,
he got something good. And you heard all the players keep saying, hey, this like at the parade when Denver, like the architect, like, he basically proving, okay, you give me 2 weeks, I can come up with a game plan to beat the best offense in the league. Mm-hmm. Everybody's been scared of Kansas City until you gave me 2 weeks to do it. And he can come out and say, hey, the reason why they did this to this in the playoffs because we gave it to him. And he proved it in the second half because he lost by 3, and we really lost because we ran out of time. And they knew it. So, like I say, I don't think it's any game. Just when we really can think about the season, I don't think it's any game that we were just really like outmatched. No, like on the defensive side, it was really offensive, not getting together, slow starts. Like we really just couldn't. I think we beat ourselves in all 5 losses. I would give it. I say the first game of the season, the Saints, was the game that we lost and we were just like, all right, we just ain't got it yet. But like the second Saints game, the Bears was just one of those games. I don't know. It was something in Gatorade. We just couldn't get it right.
Listen, I'm going to, every time I think of that game, what I'm going to think about is the terrible decisions from the coaching side, the offensive coaching side. Every single time. I mean, what the hell? I was ready to murder goddamn Bruce Arians after that. I'm like, Bruce Arians shouldn't even be allowed to talk this week to the media. Like, he shouldn't be able to put a muzzle on him. Nothing he say can make a difference for anything that this team did. This team scored 6 points in the second half. Field goals in that game. Like, I'm like, yo, the team is too talented.
Yeah, I think with a lot of that, it just shows that, even with Byron Leftwich, to his credit, when he's good, he does good. I think Tom Brady helped him as well. I think Tom Brady I think Tom Brady was like, look, bro, like, let me get some input on this because this is not working. It's just like if I'm a guy fresh out of college and Robert, you've been on the job for 15 years and I'm coming in trying to tell you what to do. You're like, hold on now. Like, I get it. You got the job title, but look, I've been doing this for 15 years. Like, I got experience. You got education. So I think with Byron Leftwich, I think those games just really showed Byron Leftwich just being out-coached and being outmatched or just being, biting too much off that he can handle. I don't think Byron Leftwich is that bad because he's a former quarterback. So I think he looks at the game from that perspective. I think he kind of understands the flow of the game and things like that. I just think that as an OC, as an offensive coordinator, he just, sometimes he's, inexperienced. He's kind of overwhelmed. And, it is good coaches. I think Bruce Arians is on the headset kind of, overruling certain things. But I'm a firm believer is when you have too many voices, then you don't get the message across. So when you got Byron Leftwich calling the plays, you got BA maybe overrule this, you got Tom Brady saying, hey, we should do this, it kind of makes the waters real muddy. And I think with Tom Brady, it's just with anybody that's been on a job or been doing something for his thing 20 years, like if I feel like we should go for it, damn it, we should go for it. I'm on the field, like we need to go for it. Or I feel like, hey, you sending in this play, and I don't think this play is right. I'm gonna auto out of it. So what we need to do is get on one page and find out what the tendencies is. What I like to do, what we don't like to do. So, man, I think that's also another reason why Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich didn't leave, because I think the situation here is better than anybody else's situation they can offer. Like, I think Todd Bowles could have easily got a job if he really wanted it, or Byron Leftwich probably could have got a good consideration. But for me, why go anywhere else when you have right now the best team in the NFL? Why go somewhere else and coach and deal with headaches and lesser talent when you have everything you want right here? So I think Byron Leftwich definitely has room to grow. I think he will grow this season. I think Tom Brady is definitely going to help their development. But with Todd Bowles, man, Todd Bowles is certified. I think Todd Bowles stamped his name as one of the best defensive guys in the league, man.
Definitely, especially after that Super Bowl performance.
Yeah, man. I think he showed what every other team couldn't do against Kansas City. And it's not that he had a good game plan. My thing is the game plan is only good as your players. You switch out some of those key players with other players, I don't think it worked.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So I think that's also one of the things the players got to understand, like, you may be just the best you can be here as opposed to somewhere else. But like Robert said, that's another conversation for March 17th.
Serious business. Hey, man, we're going to wrap this thing up tonight, man. I want to appreciate both of y'all with an F. I want to appreciate you both for joining me. Bigg Slim, we know you all over BUCS social media specifically, or actually more active on Facebook than anything else, man. Again, I'm the reason why I brought this podcast together this evening. Again, my man Juan Perez, once in a lifetime experience as a fan, got the chance to go to Raymond James Stadium, travel from Dallas, Texas, and see the sights and get that feeling, man. And that's something I have not listened to anybody else who's been doing any coverage or anything. Actually talked to some of the fans that actually made it. A lot of cats didn't. A lot of cats wanted to go. I was there. I was standing out there 2 days before the game, man. It was like, yo, I might be going to the game, and I actually just turned down. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going. I'm just not going to do it. But you did it, man. And God, Lee, you got a lot of fans in.
Once in a lifetime, man. That's like damn near once in a lifetime, man.
Like I said, shout out to my family, especially my mother. They're the ones that helped me because they know I'm a diehard BUCS fan. They know that, and they're like, you know what? Like, they're just like, we're gonna help you get there. I was like, appreciate it. Like at first I was like, even if it doesn't happen, it's all good. That's the thought that counts. And once we're able to make it work, I'm like, no way. I'm going. I didn't make it known officially. I'm going for sure until I got inside the stadium. Once I got in, I was like, I'm here. These tickets were legit. They were real.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you're a small group of people that actually say they went, and it's not like you're a millionaire business like Robert saying. It's only sometimes they pass on tickets off the business partners and stuff like that. Man, you in a small group of people that actually say they went, man. As a Buck fan, and me being here in Memphis, Tennessee, I'm a out of town fan. Like I already said, if we had made it to the Super Bowl, I was on the way, but with COVID, but hopefully, if we do what we can do next year, LA, I'm definitely coming. Even if I don't go to the game, I just want to be in the atmosphere. And that's what I kind of want to
trip for us to go there to the game. All three of us.
Hey, I'm so in.
I'm with it, man. Like I say, shit. And given the history, this thing won't happen for another 17, 18 years, man. You better pay attention to this
every time. You can't play around again. Back to my point, man. Like I refuse to move on from the 2020 season. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Not doing it until March 17th, midnight, whenever the hell it clocked until March 17th when the NFL new season, 2021 season come in. It took too long to get to this point. If you're a Bucs fan before March 20th, before March 2020, then you know just how damn long and how hard it's been to watch this team do what it's done to try to move on as if it's business as usual. Business as usual for Bucs fans. We were looking at the draft in November, the second week of November, and I refused to do it.
That's what I was about to say. Don't it feel good to not worry about the draft? Like me being a Bucs fan, and I love NFL. Like, I haven't really dived into the draft. Usually by this time, I can already kind of have my own mock draft. I done did about 10 mock drafts already. Like, I don't know of any prospects coming out of school except for like the top 5. Like, Justin Fields, we got. Like, I don't even care about the draft because we picked last, and that's a good thing.
Right. I mean, I've peaked because, I peaked just out of a little bit of habit, but I'm definitely not diving into it, man. I'm keeping this Super Bowl feeling until I got to give it up. And I really don't have to. Like I said, March 17th to be the day that I stop talking about the 2020 season as much as I'm talking about now, including the Super Bowl. But right now, again, Juan, man, you got anything you want to say before I throw up your Instagram so Cass can check you out?
What was that? I couldn't hear. Sorry. What was that?
Yeah, I was asking you anything you want to say, man, to tie up your experience in the Super Bowl and this feeling that you got from your own personal experience there. Anything?
Man, just an incredible experience. I wish like everyone could experience something like that. It was just crazy. Like, it's hard to explain. I'm actually getting goosebumps right now thinking about it right now, to be honest with you. But it was a great experience. Our Bucs won. They're Super Bowl champs. I'm still gonna be riding on that train, man. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop partying for that, man.
Hey,
I'm still gonna.
Are you getting a tattoo like Winfield Jr. too, or no? You gonna leave that alone?
Oh man, nothing that big, man. That thing was on his forearm, man.
I'm getting a tattoo. I ain't getting a tattoo on my forearm, but I'm definitely getting it in blood, man. I'm getting a tattoo. I'm getting it somewhere, but I already told myself.
I'll probably make myself some custom kicks, something like something different. Maybe throw a little Super Bowl trophy on another pair of kicks that I have. Hey. So we'll see.
Hey man, yeah. So Antoine, hey. Juan said he putting it on himself. You ain't gonna never take it off of him. Hey,
why not? He earned it. He made and that guy. I call him the kid, but I think we have a safety of I think this was Light's best draft, like hands down. Like, this guy, like everyone that came out of last year's draft, everybody contributed. Everybody has a future.
Mm-hmm.
Like. Yeah, everybody.
It's been some talent on this team, man. You know what? And I brought this up, and I'm gonna close this out here in a second. But I brought this up a couple podcasts ago. Was that again the knock for me for our GM? God bless him. The knock on him was collecting talent and not being able to put it together. When you have that one fatal flaw, and you have that one thing that'll stop you from showcasing all the other stuff that you had. That's that's killer, and that's kind of what the deal was. We had a lot of good talent going on, and thank goodness, he was able to collect a bunch of talent. But we were drafting top 10 out of the 5 out of the last 6 drafts that Jason Light had. So I mean, that's a lot of opportunities to get it right. And thank goodness, 4 years down the line, it all culminated and it came to the right thing. And we talking about a Super Bowl here for the next couple of weeks. Juan, you're active on Instagram. You got your Instagram going, man. Juanchi's Kicks. And you also obviously, I meant to bring this up a little bit more in the podcast, but you got your own business doing the customizations. You've seen a couple of the kicks that you got. How can people reach you outside of Instagram and the other thing they wanted to meet you for, as far as checking out your work, checking out your anything that you got going on?
Yeah, so they could also reach out to me on Gmail. Also, it's the same thing, juanchiskicks@gmail.com. Those are the two media platforms that I'm mostly active on, Gmail, and then also my Instagram page.
Okay. Absolutely. And Bigg Slim, you are always checking out these cats on Facebook and trying to keep them in check, at least for the couple, except for a couple times, you know, it took a hiatus during the playoffs because, you know, probably would have killed somebody. But you're kind of active in what the BUCS, you got the, what is it, the Crew Life, I believe it is, on Facebook.
I'm part of all of it, man. I'm in everything for the most part. Crew Life, the official Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan group, Buckaholics, with my boy Matt Grissom and Kush Cow Chronicles, man. You can just find me on Facebook at Bigg Slim, BIGGSLIM, Bigg Slim. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football, man. I either make some kind of discussions myself or I just kind of comment on other people's discussions, but man, I'm a big diehard Buccaneers fan, man. I know my team in and out. I'm ready to talk about anything, so you can catch me there, man.
Indeed. And again, man, I appreciate both of y'all with an F. Appreciate you both for coming on. Again, man, please check out Wanchi's Kicks on Instagram. Check him out, man. He's got some dope work. Again, these J's, man. I swear to you, man. I need them. I got to send you a pair for me to customize for me, man.
I'm always happy to always paint, man. Always happy to paint, man. On these Cherry 13s right here, man. Just
man, so dope.
Gotta rep the Bucks.
Now plug them in.
Hey, got to. Like
Appreciate it, guys.
like Pimp C, plug your shit, man. You gotta plug your shit. Man, thank you guys both again, fellow Bucks fans. Thank you if you hung around and listened to this conversation. God bless you all. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2020. We are Super Bowl champions, and we will continue celebrating the fact that we are Super Bowl champions. It don't stop. We don't need to keep up with any national media. They ain't got a damn thing to celebrate. We do. After 18 years, we did it, and looking forward to doing it again. You can check me back out here again another time this week on Friday talking about the 2020 season. Nothing else. Specific players, talking about everybody's reactions to the entire season with other fellow Bucks fans. Stay tuned. God damn it. I love you all. Please be safe out there. I'm Robert Green. You're welcome.
Winfield Jr., peace.
Right.
We out of there, man.